We're talking today about Dutch medical recognition for American doctors. We think exchange with the Netherlands makes a lot of sense for the American healthcare system to deepen our understanding of other systems. We know that the state of New York, of New Jersey, Delaware, DC have a deep Dutch tradition, of which something can help provide meaning and insight for Americans in understanding the healthcare system of your home state. We think expanding the American movement into the Netherlands also makes sense. Something remarkable that we notice in those four states that have historic Dutch ties is that they have the highest malpractice lawsuit rates out of all 50 states. And so, we know that it takes a long time to get in and see a specialist in the Netherlands. That's something we want to cooperate with them on, as peers. It's something that we see because we have Dutch history. I happen to be descendant of Frederick William II, who's the King of Prussia that came in and rescued the Dutch Republic from the Revolution in 1787 and provided safe harbor for the Regentan class to come to the United States, which we today call the United States Marine Corps. It is not an insignificant thing. Where that transition of the Dutch Golden Age to the American age happens to include the crossing of the Dutch Regentan, the Dutch Merchant Marine, to become the United States Marine Corps. My family happened to have been a part of that story, where we came in 1773 and built West Point, right between Albany and New Amsterdam. And so we think it makes sense to talk about what are the things American physicians need to do to get reciprocity in the Netherlands, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and vice versa. Because we'd like to have Dutch physicians here in the United States. We'd like to have American physicians in the Netherlands. We'd like to continue, the cooperation that's occurred between our countries since 1787, when the Batavians, in the Batavian Republic, saved the Dutch Republic from collapse. Where it had, four separate factions. And so the first thing that American physicians have to do is master the Dutch language. I think that's a good thing. Ultimately, in the 18th century, Dutch was closer to a European normed language that we then called Prussian, which is remembered wrong, but there were lots of Dutch words in that language. And we know the European Union is going through a linguistic change, and has since 1991, where a lot of different languages have become more specific, more distinct. And there's still an option for for English as a language on the continent. We know that the link between the European continent and the American continent was strong, and that the language of English was a compromise, where our English includes French, Dutch, German, Lithuanian. That's why we have so many more words in American English than in average European language. It was a language of compromise. That was inclusive and included all of Greek, all of Latin, and all of Dutch. So you might think about mastering the Dutch language, that there's certain specialists that are engaged in specialty care that might not need to master the Dutch language as a requisite. You might find that Americans are more open to native Dutch speakers in a reciprocity agreement, and folks that are not engaged in, think of a surgeon. Would you let, the best pediatric surgeon rotate through the Netherlands and save children's lives if they were, did not have native Dutch speaking? Something to think about. I know that there's American doctors that would rotate through the Netherlands, that have a voracious passion for saving lives. And based on the population size of the Netherlands, we know that America has specialists that we'd be willing to deepen that relationship. The second step for American physicians is apply for MD professional recognition. which is gathering medical training documents and completing an application. That system is one that you know we'd be willing to cooperate with Dutch on. The third step is passing the AKV language exam, of which I happen to be a native German speaker. Dutch is so rare to be taught in the United States, and yet we share so many cognates between American English and German that we'd love to find a way to collaborate on language parity, so that the Dutch could benefit from American specialists. The whole nation of India chose English. Chinese mothers have chosen English. A lot of the economic growth that those two countries have had since like 1991 traces back to a preference for English. Something that might be humbling for our friends in the Netherlands, that part of the waning of Dutch eminence in the world is that English has grown throughout the world. Step 4 for American physicians is pass the BI medical exams. We think that if you look at the American and Canadian systems, America rigorously did a great survey. Something we've extended the option for Dutch medical schools to engage in a great survey with us to get parity on medical training, because we shut down 2/3 of the American medical schools in 1910. We don't think that we are graduating physicians that are below muster. We think we have the best physicians the world's ever known. So, we'd love to simplify the testing and certification process and engage in parity, medical parity. And part of what inspired me to do that was noticing that the Netherlands was inviting Ukrainian physicians in a parity agreement. The United States of America is open to engage in a parity agreement with the Netherlands, bidirectional. The fifth step for American physicians to become a doctor in the Netherlands is a post-assessment interview. We think that that's a good thing. Having formal introduction is a good thing. In the Netherlands, there's a BIG registration number. There's an application step for that. That seems straightforward enough. We do the same sort of things. Step 7 is arrange your clinical supervision or your co-shop. That's something we can explore parity. Step 8 is getting an unrestricted BIG registration number. We think that that's a smart idea. We would have parity on that, basically. But I think that the roster of specialists in the Netherlands can be expanded. Patients can be seen more timely through partnership with the United States. Again, where we have historic cooperation, where we know that there's American physicians that would be willing to rotate through the Netherlands to help with a bottleneck. And I'm speaking as a journalist, but I can give an editorial. In my organization, Profi, we've engaged in with physicians all over the United States of America, in all of America's time zones, even Alaska. We have a passion for evangelizing the Hippocratic movement. The Hippocratic movement is something that the Dutch and Americans share, where we trace back to the shepherding tradition, which so interestingly originates with ancient Jagvedic language. And that ancient Jagvedic language is the language of horse shepherds, going back like 50,000 years to the ancient call, to the horse. What did they do to you, Garon? And that approach of caring for the horse or in Lithuanian it would be called ikos, which is the ancient Jagvedic word. And that tradition of caring well for horses is what translated into caring for patients. Me, I happen to have been a veterinary surgeon at a medical school. Never lost a patient. Me, I have a master's in healthcare administration. I'm trained in leadership, from arguably the best program in the world. And, we have some Dutch tradition in the state where I grew up, and we want to deepen that cooperation. Again, we were moved by the inclusion of Ukrainian physicians in the Dutch roadmap. We'd love to include American physicians in that roadmap and engage in a deeper grade survey between our great people to see what both of us can learn. And so join the movement, like and share this with those that you know will care about Dutch and American cooperation in medicine in this Hippocratic movement.